Hey everybody, we are back. We are live. It is another week of This Week in Pro Wrestling, and it's been a great week in wrestling. I actually could actually say that because there was a lot of exciting stuff happening. But before we get
Just
into
nonstop.
anything, gotta give this guy next to me. Introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Once again, it is the J to the E to the double F3. I am Jeffrey Harris, and welcome back to This Week in Wrestling. He's Mike Sandoval, and we're very happy to be talking to you about all the momentous things happening in this wacky world of professional wrestling.
Exactly, especially with all the hot weather and everything
I'm
that's
not.
going
I'm
on.
not wearing a hat today. I finally got a haircut.
Uh,
I got my free haircut. This is my homage to Sting during the blonde Wild Man Surfer days.
Where's the paint
No
though?
face paint today.
Okay,
That'd be cool though. But yeah,
but
this haircut is my little homage to Sting. Remember
yeah,
Sting when he had the
yep.
kind of the high top, flat top haircut,
Yellow tights, white tights, blue
all
tights.
the neon tights? Yeah,
Exactly. I
those were the
remember it
days.
vividly. But before we get into everything that happened this week, you had a really awesome interview with
Yeah.
EC3. Let me pull up that article that you're with
So
your
this is just
interview.
the first article. We'll be having multiple not that one. We'll be having multiple features going up on this, but it is also live. You can listen to it now on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to it on Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Just look for the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast, and it is my latest interview with EC3. Currently signed to Ring of Honor, and he will be wrestling Flip Gordon this weekend at ROH Best in the World on pay-per-view.
Awesome.
So however you get your pay-per-view, you could get it on Honor Club, Fight TV. So he has a big matchup there. He just did Free the Narrative, which is available on Fight TV now, where he had a match with Matt Cardona. You know Matt Cardona, formerly Zack Ryder, WWE. Both former WWE guys had a, EC3 got released last year. And now he's he's rebuilt himself as the essential character. So we talked a lot about that, about reinvention in the wrestling business, and it was a very fascinating, fun interview. I really appreciate getting to talk to a wrestler like EC3, who's a former world champion, very experienced, and I think he's having a good kind of run right now. And looking forward to this matchup this weekend.
I agree because he's one of the guys that came out of the WWE system and actually had done better once he left.
That's right, because I think he was part of that early NXT class in the early 10s. Left WWE, went to TNA, was TNA World Champion, came back to WWE by way of NXT. Didn't really get to do a whole lot. Kind of floundered there, but now he's back out of WWE, and he seems to be excelling again. So it's just kind of this business. You don't need WWE to be successful and to make a name for yourself in this business. You can succeed in this business outside of WWE, as we've seen multiple examples.
Exactly, we've seen so many now, and going into that, I think. Do you want to start in reverse this week with all the shows? Because I think that.
Well, first of all, I want to talk about Zelena Vega.
Yeah, let's do
because like we were doing our show last week, and this is just kind of how things are, because like we're doing a Friday show, and then SmackDown starts, and Zelena Vega is back in WWE. So there were rumors in May that she was possibly on her way back to WWE, that she was filming at the Performance Center, as reported by Fightful, and now she's back on TV. She's back on the SmackDown roster, and she's competing in Women's Money in the Bank. She got a spot in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match at next weekend's event. So what do you make of all this after everything that happened? And it seems they kind of ended on bad terms last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing that kind of caught me by surprise. I was shocked that they brought her back. I'm happy to see her back, but I was shocked to see that they brought her back, especially with all the controversy that they were giving her and the problems they were giving her with the fact that she had outside social media sources and all like that. So
Right.
it's kind of weird. It's really weird to me.
So apparently, something I noticed, like I looked at her Twitch channel, and from what I could tell, other than the Aleister Black thing right after he got released last month, she has not been very active on her Twitch from the looks of things. So her Twitch is still active, and apparently, you know, Twitch was sort of one of the whole sticking points of this, because last year WWE had that third-party ban where wrestlers and on-air talents could no longer, I guess, use monetized third-party platforms like Twitch, like Cameo, what have you. And some were vocally upset about that. One was Paige, Soraya. Is it Soraya Knight?
Yeah. And also too, like for her, she's not even wrestling right now. She's still
Right.
I guess she's still under contract and
Because
stuff.
on Twitch you can pay to like be a subscriber
Yeah.
to people, kind of like Patreon,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I guess this was sort of a sticking point because, you know, when you're a wrestler, and I guess, you know, it's also the pandemic, you know, you're trying to hustle and make as much money to supplement stuff as you can. And apparently some wrestlers, you know, who had Twitch subscribers were making decent money there. But yeah, I'm looking at her Twitch channel right now, and Aleister Black had the streams like right after he was released. Herself, it doesn't look like she was doing too much though on her.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
I know she was doing a lot on
it's
Instagram.
almost like she knew she was coming back in these last few months.
Yeah.
And something else that was discovered, she was making a lot of tweets about wrestling unionization and talking to SAG-AFTRA about unionization. All those tweets are now gone. So what do you make of that?
It's I think she's doing it just to be able to make a living. It comes
Did
down
she
to the
make
point where it's
okay,
making a
but did
living
she
or
make the right decision here?
I don't think so. Because I think and to be honest, I think for the younger wrestlers that are coming up right now who are under, I'm going to say the age of 32,
Okay.
35. This is social media is a way for them to build their, not only their brand, or like they
Yeah.
call it their brand, but it also helps the WWE as well. And the WWE still has a mindset from back in the 80s. Because when you look at people who are running the like big decision makers, they're guys who social media was never around when they first started. Twitch was never around.
YouTube.
YouTube was not around. And the utilization of how, and you see this through their social media, that it's kind of an old school way of thinking and a broadcast way of thinking, and it's different. Like the broadcast way of thinking and the way they do the shows and promotion is not the same way you do on social media, because people want to see them as people and build that
Right.
connection as people, and not just the
Right.
character who they are in the ring.
But I feel like WWE feels they're monetizing their intellectual property, so to speak.
And if that's the case, why isn't it that they just say, "Hey, you could do this, but there's going to be about a 20%, because since we owe your name and you're selling yourself under the name that we own, a 20% stipend or 10% of whatever you earn goes to the WWE because you're using our name and our which under the contracts and stuff." And I mean, 20%
But they're
of whatever.
they're independent contractors.
Well, and see, that's where the
Can you tell, unless, because these are not, if they're doing this on their own time and it has nothing to do with their wrestling careers, I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah. And see, here's my thing too. if they didn't use their WWE name or the name that WWE owns,
Yes.
can they do it under their real name?
Well, you see, she has her Twitch under her real name, which is Thea Trinidad,
Right.
or I think that's her. That I believe that's Zelena's real name.
Yeah, that's her real name.
Um, yeah, Thea Megan Trinidad.
Mhm.
So that is her real name. So I don't see if they're using their real name and they're out of character. I don't see what the problem is. But
Yeah. Well,
you
Io
know,
Soraya was doing the same thing, using her real name.
but here's my attitude on the unionization thing.
Mhm.
If the wrestlers want these things and they want, changes to the contracts and things like that, they have to get it. And if they want unionization, they would have to do that together.
Right.
WWE is not going to do that for them. I think
No.
it's the same thing for MMA fighters,
Mhm.
UFC fighters. If UFC fighters want to change fighter pay or if they want unionization, then they have to come together and do that. If UFC is not a charity organization, WWE is not a charity organization, they're not going to make it happen for them. They have to do it for themselves.
Right.
So if they're not going to fight for, if they're not willing to, to do everything they can to fight for that, WWE is not going to roll over and give it to them.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And you got two people who run like UFC and WWE who don't believe usually in the unions. so that's
Yeah.
their sticking point too.
So and oddly enough, her husband, Zelena Vega's husband, now signed to a new contract officially with another wrestling company.
Yep.
But it's weird. So Zelena Vega, so all within a week of each other, Zelena Vega is back in WWE, back in on TV, and so is her husband, former WWE superstar Aleister Black. Now, one thing I do want to add of all this, I think it's good she's on SmackDown because as we discussed on this show before, during all these releases, SmackDown was left gutted by all these releases, and they only had like seven women there. Now I think they have 8 women on the SmackDown Women's roster with Zelena Vega. So it's good
All
they
of 8.
have.
All of 8.
It's good
Goodness.
they have. It's good they have someone like Zelena Vega on there
Mhm.
to mix it up with the women's division because they need bodies in there. They need someone who is talented, someone who does have great personality and can work with the women. And I think Zelena Vega is one of those women. So I think from a SmackDown roster standpoint, it's good they have her.
Right. I
Okay.
agree. And they need that.
All right. So now we also have her husband. So let's transition over to her husband. Malakai Black is officially signed to All Elite. AEW made it official yesterday. Malakai Black, aka Tom Budgeon. What is it? Tom Bludgeon? Budgeon?
Yeah, I believe that's how he pronounces his
Tom
last
Budgeon is his real name.
name. Mhm.
Formerly Aleister Black in NXT and WWE. Formerly Tommy End is now Malakai Black after debuting Wednesday on Dynamite. So now we know where he's going to be for the foreseeable future. He's going to be in AEW. He clearly signed a contract to AEW, hence the announcement tweet yesterday saying he's All Elite. So what do you think? Now Zelena Vega's husband has a new gig and he's in AEW.
Yeah, I like that decision. I think it's a good decision for him and a good move. I think they're gonna really. I'm just hoping that because the excitement and the pop was just huge when he came out on Dynamite this past Wednesday, and people were excited to see him. And it's funny because Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, who's the bassist for the band, had him as and interviewed him and talked to him before he went out, or the day that he appeared, or the next day after he appeared on AEW and came out as Malakai Black. And he was talking about how there's this big elaborate storyline now and why he's Malakai Black, and the fact that he started out as Tommy End, he got possessed by as Aleister and became Aleister Black, and now he's transforming into Malakai Black, giving another persona, and that this is all like has been a journey throughout his career and what's happened with the character. And it was very interesting because it's like, but you could tell in his voice that he was very happy to be at AEW, and that they're looking, and that supposedly he was saying, you just got to wait to see what they're going to do with Malakai. Wow. I'll continue here. Because Jeffrey's actually on a bit of a call right now. But yeah, but the Malakai Black character, I mean, I like it. I like the black suit. Came out just like he was at WWE, which was really cool. So it's a lot of things to definitely look forward to. And the
Junk phone calls.
I'm telling
Here,
you,
I sent you the I
time.
sent you the announcement in the so we can show it on the screen.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be putting that up right now. So after everybody who is watching, who's not listening to us and who's watching us on the YouTube channel, could be able to see the Twitter account that just
There we
came
go.
up with AEW releasing "Welcome to the Team." Malakai Black, aka Tommy End, is
So on Wednesday, he released a short film, kind of like reintroducing himself as Malakai Black. But in the short film, it was Malakai Black's.
Right.
Malakai Black is a little simpler, and it also kind of harkens back to Aleister Black. But I think this is a good way. I think it's a good way to reinvent himself, to rebrand himself as a new character. He kind of changed the look up a little bit. Now he's got the black suit and everything over that kind of like, the demonic kind of like, dark gear. So I think this is a good change for him. It's a change of scenery. He can reinvent himself, and that's important for wrestling. Right. And I think this is a good step. It's a good move for everyone involved. I think it's good that right off the bat he attacked Arn Anderson and Cody, but if he's going to job to Cody in all the big one-on-one matches, I'm not going to be happy with that. So they have to be careful. They have to be careful about that,
I agree.
But do you like the name Malakai Black over Tommy End?
I like it. It fits into his persona that he's created already, and the storyline that he's created. So I'm cool with it. Jeffrey, you're on mute for some reason.
Do you like that they tweaked it on the same day from Malakai Black's to Malakai Black?
Well, I didn't even know about that, but after
there was a short.
It makes more sense that Malakai Black.
But there's this whole kind of meta storyline, like you talked about, where he did this short film on his social media, where he's like this patient at a mental institution, and he talked about getting injured by Matthew, referencing how last year Buddy Murphy, whose real name is Matthew, threw him on the steps and jacked up his eye.
Yeah.
So he's kind of sort of having this sort of meta character storyline, talking about getting taken out of WWE and now kind of being reborn as this sort of satanic kind of demonic character presence called Malakai Black. So you can probably Google that short film, but it's on his Instagram, and it's another example of wrestlers using their social media to brand themselves and doing sort of their own little projects.
Exactly. And you know what? It's a great idea. What he did was a great idea, and it gave him a lot of pop and a lot of push, and it gives the viewer an understanding of what the character is a little bit more.
Okay, so here's another major news item that we just heard today, actually.
Yeah.
So SmackDown should be coming on right now. So. Exactly. But this bit of breaking news actually came out before SmackDown today, so it's just funny how we sort of just missed talking about the breaking news right before it happens on Thursday or Friday. But here's so I just sent you the link. So this is from WWE. Bayley out approximately 9 months after sustaining injury while training. WWE Digital has learned that Bayley sustained an injury while training for her WWE Money in the Bank match against Bianca Belair and will be out approximately 9 months. Not an insignificant amount of time. A suitable replacement for the SmackDown Women's title match will be announced tonight on Fox. Tune into SmackDown and follow WWE social channels for the latest updates. This looks and sounds legit to me, Michael.
Yeah, it does to me now too. After they released a statement,
It
but I
doesn't.
wonder how she got hurt.
Well, if it was training, there was probably we know they were doing training sessions at the Performance Center to get ready because starting next week they are going back on the road for touring and TV.
Mm-hmm.
So it probably happened that, and just goes to show what these wrestlers do. It might be predetermined, but the bumps are real, and there is always serious risk to injury. Just unfortunate. I feel really bad for Bayley, and I hope she's going to be okay.
Same here, because they're giving her a good run. But see, this is the thing people need to realize. Like, what's a ring made out of? Cardboard, a thin layer of particle board or wood, and then a little
Canvas,
bit of padding.
yeah,
And a little bit of padding and canvas. So every time you land on that, it hurts. It does tend to make an effect. And I don't know what her injury was from, but if she's getting ready for the show, you also got to look at it this way too. They're not traveling like all the time, and it was during the COVID situation, they needed to get back into shape into what it's going to be like when they're on the road and when they're performing and when they're doing like having to travel, train, prepare, things like
that. So 9 months. We don't really know the nature of the injury, other than she'll probably be out for 9 months. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah,
it's almost a year. So I hope she'll be okay and she makes a full recovery. She'll be able to get back in the ring. But it is another huge blow to SmackDown that they've let go of a lot of good women, and now they've let go. Well, they haven't let go, but now we've lost one of the top women on the SmackDown roster, a main eventer and former champion, due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
And they did bring Zelena Vega back, but there's just a huge lack of talent on the SmackDown women's roster right now.
Yeah,
you know,
and we're not even like Sasha Banks hasn't been wrestling since WrestleMania. I know she's getting better, but like you include her.
Was Sasha injured? What happened to Sasha?
I think it was just a storyline break.
Oh,
it looked like. I don't know, but I don't know exactly, but I don't think it was anything like an injury, but who knows? But I know it was a storyline break, and she's supposed to be coming back soon. But like even then, when you look at the amount of women who are on the SmackDown roster, it's thin. It's so thin, and I'm wondering what they're gonna do. Are they gonna bring people up, women from NXT up? Are they gonna hire new people?
The thing is, the NXT roster does have a lot of women. That's one thing they have. So maybe you could bring up like Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah.
She's a great worker. She just had that sort of great feud with Raquel Gonzalez, right?
Yep.
She's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
You could use her.
Yeah.
Easily. But this is why I don't like, getting rid of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. You could have. They're both very talented and charismatic. You could have done something with either of those women even after they were split up.
I agree with you.
So, just really sad for Bayley, and I hope she'll bounce back from this. And it won't be. I mean, if it's 9 months, we don't know what the exact injury was, but hopefully, she'll be able to work through this and get back in ring shape sooner rather than later. Okay.
I also have one thing for the next topic. I don't know if you're going to talk about this, but I wanted to bring this up. So I guess at AEW Dynamite this Wednesday, during the one part of the show when MJF and Jericho had talk, somebody from the audience actually jumped over to attack MJF.
Yeah, there's a better video of it. I'm gonna send you that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send you that clip. But yeah, the fans, so to speak, tried to get in the ring. I gotta say though, I think MJF and Chris Jericho covered it up pretty good the way they
Oh,
reacted.
yeah. But this was something we were talking about a couple weeks ago, the fact
Oh,
where
okay.
the NBA players were getting thrown things when they're going back to the tunnel, being talked
Here's the clip.
trash. Okay,
Like this is from this is like as close as we're gonna get to seeing what happened here.
yeah, because like if you're watching the show, you really didn't realize it at all.
Yeah, because they kind of kept it off camera.
Right.
There's the dude.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Justin Roberts. That's
Yep.
Justin Roberts in the jacket.
Exactly.
Dude, I have so much respect for Justin Roberts. Quick thinking there. Because security, like this guy was giving security trouble, and Roberts, like, I'm gonna grab this guy's foot, and he yanked him off the ramp, and that kind of just took him out of commission.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost like Roberts knew exactly what he was doing there, and like it's like, and what I mean by that, he knew exactly what to do and how to handle this punk.
Yeah.
But what do you think of what we just saw?
I was like,
look at Roberts is like he's like this a superhero. He's like he knew exactly what to do.
I mean, I don't know Justin Roberts' background, but dude, he took care of it, and he made it like, hey, get this guy out of here, which is good because we're seeing this too much in sports right now, in all sports. And it's very, very like, this is ridiculous when people can't control and believe that this is like a storyline, or with MLB or NBA with the playoffs and how it was during the early rounds of the playoffs with people doing stuff like this. It's like, come on, these people work really hard. They're doing this for your entertainment. I mean, and somebody could easily have gotten hurt.
Oh yeah,
somebody easily could have gotten hurt after that.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't want to say it's. I don't want to downplay it because it's something we see repeatedly in wrestling.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like Justin Roberts did a better job at handling this than their security staff.
Well, I think so too, because he knew what to do. He knew to take out his leg, get him off, and get him down onto the floor and the ramp. Because I'm sure the ramp isn't that wide, and it's thin enough where he's going to have a hard time trying to get up.
Have we heard anything else about what happened with this guy on Dynamite?
I haven't heard anything else, but I know I was listening to Busted Open Radio yesterday, and they were talking about it, and they were really like just.
I'm trying to find some more information about the situation.
Yeah, because I know they were saying the fan jumped over, and it was.
Atlas Security was not in charge of security last night. Like, has there been any other statement about this idiot?
I haven't seen anything. They've kept it very hush hush and put them dealing with the issue, dealing with the problem, let the arena take care of it.
I'm reminded of remember the guy at the WWE Hall of Fame who went after Bret Hart?
Yep.
Here, let's Bret Hart, let's see if we can find that clip. Bret Hart.
Yeah, because that's something that
was during he was delivering a speech for his late tag team partner Jim Neidhart with Jim Neidhart's daughter, Bret Hart's niece, Natalia. They're trying to honor this guy, and this schmuck rushes the ring and tries to tackle Bret Hart, who, I mean, Bret Hart is tough as nails, don't get me wrong, but the man's in his 60s and his body has been through absolute hell. Not just his wrestling career, but getting concussed, being the motorcycle accident and getting a stroke. His body, his body has been through the ringer. And then this schmuck gets in the ring and tries to tackle and attack the man. Just like, what is wrong with people?
I really do not know.
We need better security at these things.
I think so, because like it's getting worse. It's not getting any better. We've seen this over the years. I think this was at the time.
So this was the Bret Hart attack.
Yeah, trying to get that audio lower down so that we don't hear the audio. But as you see, it's almost the same situation.
Look at this idiot.
Exactly.
Now, I mean, all the credit. Bret Hart got back on his feet, finished his speech and everything, but and you know.
Yep, and there's Kalisto.
Yeah, Dash Wilder got. I have no, and look.
Yeah.
I have no judgment here. Dash Wilder taking a sucker punch at this guy.
Oh hell no. Well,
He
worse.
deserved. You want to know why he deserved far worse? That man is in his 60s, and and his body has been through hell, and he did it. He did it for us.
Mhm.
His body has been through the ringer to entertain and make us happy, to
After a
entertain
long,
us.
yeah, exactly. After a
Like,
long
have
day of
some
work.
damn respect. I mean, that man is a veteran of this business.
Exactly. And it to me it feels like it's getting worse than it is getting better. And seeing it from what we saw earlier in the NBA playoffs and now this
What happened in the NBA?
in the NBA playoffs, I believe they were coming out of the tunnel and they were hitting Michael Westbrook with stuff, with like throwing stuff at him when he was going into the tunnel.
Why were they throwing things at him?
Because fans didn't. I don't know.
Was
I
it
don't know. I don't remember the exact story.
was it some sort of team like team BS? Like
Yeah, it's
like team
one thing. It's
like
bullshit.
disrespect for the other team, or I don't know.
Yeah, it was, and that's the thing. Like, pardon my friends, but
Just cheer or boo. Like,
No,
seriously, come
exactly.
on.
But that's the thing. Like, pardon my wording, but it's bullshit.
I
It
don't
really
know.
is. You need to act like. Imagine if I don't even know if their kids were there. Like, if you have your kids there and kids are watching this, this is like, dude, come on, you're
You're
grown.
adult, yeah, you're adult. These are adults doing this too,
Mhm.
or they're
Exactly.
at least in adult bodies. So that's even more
And here's the thing
disappointing.
that gets me. You're paying your good hard money, earned money to go
Yeah.
get some enjoyment and you're doing stupid stuff like this. I mean, come on. And these guys
Excuse me.
are taking time and using their bodies and putting in the rigor, the physicality to entertain you. It's like, and you want to hurt them? It's like you're not a pro wrestler. Give it up.
Okay, so anything else to add on the fan invading the ring and getting taken out by Justin Roberts of all
Yeah,
people?
that's why I gotta commend Justin Roberts for what he did and the way he handled the situation. He's, I mean, even
Like a
I'm even more
pro.
impressed now. Yeah, exactly.
I
I'm
wonder
even
if
more
that's
impressed by what
something
he
he
does.
learned on the road, and like because he's probably announced tons of TV shows and house
Mhm.
shows, and there have probably been incidents that we've never seen with guys maybe trying to get to the wrestlers or get to the ring where
I
he
agree.
maybe had to step in.
Yeah,
For all I
exactly.
know, for all I know.
Exactly.
If
Because a lot of
if
these
I ever
guys,
talk to him, I would ask about that. If that's
yeah,
just like a trick of the trade he learned or something.
yeah, because it's like if a UFC, like if somebody did that in the UFC, the fighter cannot hit him because his
Right.
hands are registered weapons.
Wait, I'm trying to
So
get this. Oh, okay. So this is so now we're going to get into the Jimmy Uso story.
oh
So
yeah,
this is sort of another sort of weird thing, unfortunate thing that we've seen develop. Started on, I think we first heard about it on July 6th. So when did this start? So we
um,
heard about the arrest on Tuesday the 6th. So that's right
yeah,
after Monday Night Raw.
mhm,
So I sent you the TMZ link if you and we
yeah.
can see his mugshot.
We'll pull that up
So
right now.
WWE star Jimmy Uso was arrested for DUI. Reportedly, had a blood alcohol content of 0.205. Now, for reference, like what's the BAC in Florida?
I do not know what the
It's much lower. Okay, so the
yeah.
BAC, the blood alcohol content in Florida, is 0.08. He blew a 0.205.
Mhm,
So that's more than twice the legal limit.
yeah.
Okay, and then what else? So he was driving 50 in a 35 miles per hour zone, ran a red light. Police asked him to exit his vehicle. He was noticeably swaying, and he apparently allegedly admitted to police that he consumed multiple beers before getting behind the wheel of a car. He took the field sobriety test and he was arrested. He was later released on bail. Okay, so he's had other DUI cases.
Mhm,
He had one in July 2019 where he was found not guilty in December.
yeah.
In February 2019, he had an incident where Naomi was driving, but he appeared to be drunk and got out of the car and apparently got into an incident with police. He pled no contest to that incident, and apparently he had another DUI case, I believe, earlier. I want to say like 2013 ish. So, man, and he's got like he had a big angle and storyline on SmackDown too. But
Exactly.
look, I mean,
Well, let me start
he
this off.
clearly
First
he
of all,
clearly has a problem. He
yeah,
clearly has a problem, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does. I mean, and if you have it more and you see it reoccurring more often, there's an issue. And the one thing, like we talk a lot about WWE and what's going on, but there's one thing WWE does do, and learning and talking to different WWE wrestlers over the years, that they do take care of their own, even if they're not even signed with WWE, and get them help. So I'm hoping WWE is moving forward, and like anybody says, I mean, it's up to him to decide that he wants to change and he wants to correct the situation. But I'm sure WWE is offering to try and get the help and get what he needs to do to be able to get to avoid these situations.
But this has happened to him multiple times before,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I guess he wasn't going to rehab before or after this because he's lucky. He's just so lucky. No, like if his blood alcohol content was that high, he's lucky no one died or there wasn't a serious accident. You
Exactly.
know?
That's the big thing, is that somebody could have easily have gotten hurt. And this is the thing, like I don't want to see a guy like him get into trouble or get into anything, because he's a very fun professional
He's
wrestler.
married to
I,
Naomi.
exactly. I've never
He
met him
has
personally.
kids. He has
Exactly.
kids too.
Exactly. Like I've never met him in person. We've never talked, but coming from what I see on his performance in the ring, I mean, he has such a great career that could be even higher than his dad, and his dad is Rikishi.
Yep.
But I think he could even be even bigger than what his dad was, because he has that much talent, that much charisma, that much oomph. That I'm hoping that he does get the help and
So in
go after it.
2011, he was charged with DUI
Mhm.
and he was convicted and sentenced to probation. In 2013, he was arrested for violating his probation and driving with a suspended license. And his brother Jey Uso, Joshua Fatu, he's had DUI issues as well.
Yeah,
So I don't want to say this is like a cry for help, but both these guys maybe need help, and both these
yeah.
guys definitely have a problem.
And then also too,
Um,
you don't know what we don't know what they're going through right now, or
well,
what issues they're going through,
but do you
because
think WWE has not taken action against them because they're from the, that famous wrestling family, the Fatu family?
I think they have. I think they've been talking to them, and but like I said, because it's like that's their investment, and I know they probably have talked to them, and I know that their CMS family, especially since their family has wrestled with WWE, they don't want to see the same issues occur with him
I'm
and
not
vice
saying
versa.
now, some people are like fire him. I'm not even saying fire him, but
Nah,
they need to get this under control. Like
because
get them off. They have to take them off TV
mhm,
and give them a chance to, get this taken care of, go to rehab and take it seriously. Otherwise, this is going to continue happening. And it
I
sucks to say
agree.
that, but I mean, we've seen drugs and alcoholism, tear people's lives apart in wrestling and outside of wrestling. So it's
And
no joke.
here's the thing too. After my years of working in pro sports, the one
Yeah,
thing, like when you get your orientation, is the one thing is like once you are undone with the day, you still are known as an employee of that organization.
right.
So if anything were to happen, if you get arrested, drunk driving or anything like that, it comes back to the organization, and they will find out and show that, hey, this guy worked for so and so team, or is a wrestler at WWE, and
But
that's even
I think for this to happen again, it's happening too many times.
yeah.
He had two arrests. He had two arrests in 2019.
Hmm.
Both were related to alcohol. One was a DUI, and I guess technically one he got not guilty in a trial by jury. But there were other incidents earlier in the decade, and it's just happening. It's happening too much,
Yeah.
and you have to take a hard line stance. And I'm not saying fire him, but he has to he has to be given the chance to take responsibility here and do the right thing. And if he doesn't, I don't think he should be part of WWE anymore. And no other organization should hire Jimmy or Jey Uso until they put a concerted effort to show that they've checked into a program and they're working on the alcoholism, because clearly it's an alcohol substance issue or an addiction issue, and they're having trouble dealing with it.
Yeah.
Also, why, like, what is it like drinking and driving? Like, you can't get an Uber, you can't get, I mean, like, I just have Uber and Lyft on my phone just in case of an emergency, and I've used them. Not because I was drinking, but like, just because of either the area I was in and I didn't feel safe walking home. Like, I mean, there are so many ways you can get that taken care of.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing, like on my end, and the way I think of it is the fact that like firing him, that doesn't help the situation. That doesn't help him get better. That doesn't help him find that recovery and that thing to get better. It'll make this
Okay.
may make the situation worse at this time. But I'm pretty sure WWE is telling him, "Hey, you got to clean up now. Like this is already your third time. You got to take this seriously if you want to." And then if he doesn't go and he turns away the help, what can he do? You can
It's
put him
his
on
third
probation.
arrest that we know. I think it's his. This is his fifth arrest.
Mm-hmm.
His fifth arrest that we know of.
Yeah.
And how many other incidents where he's been drinking and driving behind the wheel where he wasn't caught? Think about that, Michael.
Exactly. Those are the things we don't know, and that's why I say, like, if you're the organization, you give them that final chance.
Now, take it for what it's worth. Dave Meltzer reported today that Jimmy Uso is backstage in Florida before SmackDown. Yeah. Is that the right move? Should you even put him on TV tonight? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think you put him on probation, you get him into a rehab situation, and because it's almost like if you're allowing them in the building, it's almost like a reward. And that nothing happened. Nothing.
I feel like any disciplinary action like you could do, I don't think should be done at like the arena.
Yeah,
I don't think.
And that's the thing. Just to let everybody know, like I say that because I want to see him get better. I want to see him do well. And sometimes it's that tough love that changes somebody to getting their stuff together.
But I wonder though, like what does Naomi think about because Naomi's a wrestler and she's there and she's working, and like what is she, do you think she's got to be aware of this to some degree, right?
Oh yeah, she has to be. Because she's the one, didn't she? At one time, she did pick him up, or
well, one of his arrests, she was the one driving at the time, and they were stopped because they were allegedly driving two ways on a one-way street, and then he was apparently drinking but not driving at that time, and apparently got out of the car and confronted police. So, and he pled no contest to those charges.
Yeah.
So I think he was fined for that after that arrest. But she was there at that time, so I feel like she's got to be aware of this, and like
she's aware of it. But it's like I told you in the beginning.
And it seems like his brother seems to have similar issues as well.
Yeah. But that's what I say from the beginning. It's up to the person who's doing it to say,
Yeah.
I want to change. Because
You
if
can't
they don't
force
want
you
to
can't
change,
force a
exactly.
you can't force a person to go to rehab and take,
No,
recovery seriously.
no. It's up for the person to want to change and want to make do better.
Here's what I will say in conclusion to all this.
Yeah.
As a wrestler, as a performer, as an in-ring talent, I have the utmost respect for Jimmy Uso. I think the career he's built is very impressive. Um, I think in many ways he's honored the legacy of his family, but I hope, you know, for his sake, for his family's sake, that he can get this worked on and taken care of, him and his brother,
Yeah.
so they can live long and fruitful and happy lives, and this doesn't end in tragedy, because that's the last thing I want.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the reason I say that is because we've seen how, drugs and alcohol can destroy someone's life. And I mean, I'm sorry I'm bringing this up, but look at Brian Pillman.
Yeah, exactly. We've had so many incidences, not just in wrestling, in all sports, in all
Yeah.
of entertainment. And we have these examples so many times, and that's why I say, like, I respect him so much for who he is as a professor, a performer. But and I want him as a person to be able to overcome this. But it's up to him,
Yeah.
and that's the sad point, because no matter what you do, if he doesn't want to do it, nothing's going to change. He has to change, and he has to want to change.
Okay, so let's move on from that. Any big takeaways from Raw this week?
Actually, Raw was pretty good. I found it to be more entertaining than what it had been in the last couple weeks. Um, so I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so let's see what we had going on with Raw. John Morrison beat Ricochet by countout. Nia Jax, Eva Marie, Shayna Baszler, Dewdrop, Piper Niven beat Nikki Cross, Asuka, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss. Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali actually got a match on TV
Exactly. It's
again
about time.
against Mansoor.
Hmm.
Beat Mansoor. Drew McIntyre beat Jinder Mahal by DQ. Lucha House Party. Lucha House Party got on TV. Beat
Yeah.
Mason T Bar. Riddle beat AJ Styles. Jackson Riker and R-Truth beat Elias and Cedric Alexander. It was really just Jackson Riker striking. Excuse me. What's the word? Squashing
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander. And New Day. What was supposed to be Xavier Woods versus Bobby Lashley got changed to New Day MVP and Bobby Lashley. So what I'm seeing here are a lot of names who normally are not on Raw are on Raw now, and I guess they need some new names on TV because they fired like over half the roster. So
Exactly.
you got to get so you got to fill 3 hours on Raw somehow.
Mhm.
So you were cool with Raw this week.
Yeah, I was cool with Raw. I thought the only thing that kind of the Riddle thing was kind of corny to me. But and the Alexa Bliss segments that they had before her match, where she was appearing and disappearing, was kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm already done with this. But everything else was okay. It wasn't bad.
A little late for the July 4th holiday, but 2 days later we had NXT's edition of the Great American Bash.
Yeah.
Last year they did the Great American Bash as like a 2-week event over
Mhm.
two nights on NXT. This year was just the one.
Right.
I mean, as far as NXT goes, it seemed like a pretty normal NXT to me.
Hmm.
It wasn't
Yeah.
really to me. It wasn't really special enough to break out the Great American Bash thing.
Yeah. It wasn't like last year. Last year was really good.
It was huge.
This one was,
Last year it was like a take. It was like a takeover on USA
yeah,
Network.
exactly. And it was really good. It was exciting. This year was kind of like just like a normal show, which NXT's normal shows are really good.
Yeah,
And but it's like when you theme it to something, you were expecting more.
Okay, well, MSK did beat Timothy Thatcher and Ciampa, so and MSK, that's a big win for those two, really.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I'm glad they did put them over because, you know, I mean, Ciampa especially is a huge name, and he's he's NXT royalty. So
Right.
to get put over that team is huge for MSK. So I think it was good to do that. LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. So Knight retained and keeps the $1 million title for now. So I guess that means Grimes is going to be his butler from now for a while.
They're using the butler gimmick, so yes, he's going to be his butler. Who knows for how long, but he'll be his butler.
And I think Ted DiBiase even mentioned he's probably going to be coming back into this at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, so the women's tag team titles, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell defended against Io Shirai and Zoe Starks. Tegan Knox came back, so Tegan Knox is back on TV. And so now Zoe Stark and Io Shirai are the new champions. So surprising title change. Do you think it was good that they changed the titles on the women's NXT tag titles?
It wasn't shocking.
Okay.
It wasn't shocking because I don't know why I have this weird feeling that they're gonna bring them up to SmackDown. I don't know why. Candice LeRae.
Oh, Candice LeRae and Indy.
Yeah.
They could really. I mean, the problem is, SmackDown is really short on women's talent, and there are barely any women's tag teams at all.
Yeah.
So exactly. They could, they really kind of need them.
Yeah, and Candice LeRae has a name. People know who she is.
She's a great wrestler, and I think in the last year, Candice has really kind of come into her own, and kind of like I feel like she was a good wrestler before NXT, but now I feel she's established herself as being like a good worker, a good heel beyond just being Gargano's wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
She's established herself. She's established herself very well.
I agree.
And also we had another Adam Cole versus Kylo Ren. I mean, it was a good match. Don't get me wrong.
It was a really good match, but
yeah.
Did we need it? Another one?
I don't know. But so we had this. It was a great match though, and so that was NXT Great American Bash. So I just don't know they needed the Great American Bash name for this.
No, I don't think they needed it. It would have been a good show just as it is. Don't need a title.
I would have done, if you were going to do that, I would have done it like over the 2 nights like they did last year, kind of thing, and do one show the week before last week and then do one show this week and have all the titles defended over 2 nights, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
But I got a feeling Scarlett and Cross are probably bound for the main roster soon too.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing those dark matches recently. So it seems like they're prepping them for the main roster.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see them after SummerSlam. You're going to see new people coming into the main roster.
Right, because I think they're going to have the draft. I think I want to say September or October. So not long after SummerSlam, we're going to see the next WWE draft. Who do you think should be the guy to beat Karrion Kross?
If Samoa Joe's cleared, if they actually clear him, it would be cool to see Samoa Joe versus Kross. If Samoa Joe's not cleared, I wouldn't mind Adam Cole or Finn Balor. But I think the Finn Balor thing. Is his jaw still injured? Because didn't he have a broken jaw? He did. It got healed.
I feel like he had something. Is he just taking time off now?
It could be.
Okay. I do like. What do you think of Hit Row Records?
You know what? I actually kind of like it. I like how they're doing it. How they're really pushing them. I mean, it's something I haven't seen on NXT.
I like Isaiah Scott, and I think they're doing something with those guys, and they're letting them build their characters and establish themselves. So I think it's working. I think it's working for them for now.
And that guy who's on a AMC, who was on the AMC shows that WWE was doing, that Most Wanted, where they were looking for the artifacts or
Oh,
things.
the most wanted treasures
Yeah,
host.
that guy's a part of that hit row.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So now,
I like now, since I've seen him and how he is, who he is in real life, and then I see him now with this, I'm like, dude, I actually connect with him even more.
AJ Francis,
Yeah, yeah,
he's top dollar, top
uh-huh,
dollar. He used to play. He used to play in the NFL. Did you know
yeah,
that?
yeah.
He was on the Redskins.
Hmm.
Also
Now
trained
they're
by
the
the
Washington Football Club.
Dudley Boys.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's they've kind of transition him into the stable. But the problem is what happens when they leave the main roster? They leave NXT for the main roster. What's going to happen
well,
to them?
that's the thing, and I think that's where,
That's the double-edged sword. To
until things change on the main roster, or like behind the scenes, like if you're in NXT, for me, like if I was wrestling in NXT and I was really hot right now, I would not
Mhm.
want to go to the main roster, because you've seen what happens. You're either gonna get, then you may get a shine, but if they don't like you like your persona, or they don't know what to do with you, then you're just put to the side and you become just a gimmick. Look at Ricochet.
Like if I'm MSK,
Hmm.
like maybe you come on to the main roster, you're hot for a little while, but what's going to happen 6 months after you're on the main roster? Maybe you get
Exactly.
one. Maybe you get one sort of quick run with the tag titles or whatever.
Hmm.
But then what's going to happen 6 months later when Vince sort of gets tired of you? You know,
Exactly. And Vince likes those big guys, those muscular guys. So that's why,
Vince
like,
doesn't like tag teams.
yeah, and that
And
too. It's like,
look at Lucha House Party.
yeah, they're in Lucha Limbo.
Now, didn't Kalisto have like a cool NXT tag team?
Yes, he did.
He was
And also, I think he
he
was a
teamed
US
with
he was also the US champion too
yeah
when he was
in NXT he teamed with Sin Cara, and they were the Lucha Dragons, and they held the NXT tag titles once.
yeah,
So and yeah, he did hold the US title a couple times, but it kind of after that it kind of cooled for Kalisto after
yeah.
a while, and then they put him in Lucha House Party, and he did basically nothing until he got released.
Hmm.
So I think MSK is so talented and they have a lot going for them. It's just what is Vince going to do with them once they get the main roster and he just does? They don't fit the mold of what Vince wants.
Yeah, and look who's working under Vince. Like, I mean, shoot. You not what's his name? John Laurinaitis. Doesn't seem
Laurinaitis,
like
yeah,
an old school guy. Bruce Pritchard, an old school guy.
right,
And it's like
and
the
Kevin
times
Dunn.
are, and this is the thing, like the times are changing. The big guy, yeah, it's still a sellable point, but you see a lot of the guys that are really hitting big in other wrestling operations organizations are more athletic, faster, more have gymnastic skills, really sell it differently. I mean, it's a different world now. It's not that old school Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior type of physique anymore. It's a different performer and a different athlete.
Okay, here we go. So moving on to AEW Dynamite for this week. This was the Road Rager show.
Hmm.
So this was AEW returning to live touring. AEW had already had live fans back at Daly's Place, but now they're back on the road. They were in Miami, Florida at the James L. Knight Center, and I think they had at least 3,500 people.
Right.
So PWI Insider said they were a few hundred short of selling out. So so they probably had over 4,000 in attendance, and it looked like a good crowd, and it was a very hot crowd. So how did you think? How did you think the Miami crowd did? Other than the guy who tried to
Roland the idiot who broke
attack
the ring. Yeah.
Jericho and MJF?
I thought the crowd was amazing, and they were excited to see pro wrestling again. And it looked like they had a lot of fun, and All Elite delivered. AEW delivered.
Okay, so we opened up with Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall in a strap match. It was
It was
fine.
okay. It was a typical strap match. Nothing.
Kind of a typical Cody match too.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what else. So we had Tony Schiavone interviewing Don. The crowd was really good during the Don Callis Kenny Omega thing, especially when they were chanting "You got fired" at Don Callis.
Yeah. And that was the first night of Kenny Omega dealing with some stuff. So that started off this 2-day thing.
So now it looks like they're gonna push Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega for the title. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed Hangman with his Western wear gear and the fringe and everything the other night. So I hope he sticks with that.
I hope
just
so.
because
He's exciting. He's an exciting guy to watch and just watch wrestle. And that would be a match worth paying for, like worth a pay-per-view for.
You know, as wrestling fans, you know, sometimes we see almost everything. But I went to a New Japan show a few years ago. I want to say 2018. That was at the Walter Pyramid in Long Beach.
Right.
And he was in like a 6-man tag match on that card. And Adam Page did this. He did this like moonsault into a drop kick, into a somersault, into a moonsault onto a guy lying on the floor. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that before. He's so athletic. And not just athletic, the way he mixes in his personality and facial expressions into his whole in-ring performance. I just think he's got all those rare qualities. I think he's the total package.
Yeah.
He's got the athleticism, the charisma, he's got all of it.
Yeah, and ever since he separated from the Elite, he's really stood out and he's really made a name for himself. So I think it'll be an exciting match. That's one definitely I would want to watch.
Okay, so I actually did like this segment with JR with Ethan Page and Darby Allin.
Oh,
I'm happy. I'm happy that like they had that kind of face-to-face interview, and they just kind of they said their piece, and no one like it didn't end in a brawl or anything. All it ended, we're setting up the coffin match, and that's all it needed to do. And I think that's fine. You don't need to end every interview segment with a brawl, you know?
I agree.
I think JR actually handled that rather well.
And I think it really it made an impact to the audience. Because for me, I thought that was a great interview that really I really want to see this coffin match now after seeing that interview and them just being, hey, this is.
But I like that. I like that they're acknowledging the past history because Ethan Page, like I think he runs his own like local indie promotion.
Yeah.
And I think he did help. I think he basically helped train Darby Allin and everything. And now Ethan Page kind of, ever since he kind of had his own, he got into amazing shape, by the way. And then he had remember the Karate Man thing? And then he kind of broke out even more. Right. And now he's kind of having a moment. So I really enjoy this feud, and I like that they're acknowledging their past history. So,
I agree.
What do you think? What do you think this coffin match is going to be?
I really don't know, but I'm a big fan of Darby Allin.
Is this going to be like a Is this going to be like a casket match or something different?
I think it's like a casket match.
Okay.
Except it's not going to be like a traditional casket. It's going to be a wood box.
Okay. Pinnacle got the win over Inner Circle. So this time we had Wardlow pinning Jake Hager.
Yeah.
Just decent enough. Oh, so we got the AEW in-ring debut of Andrade. I loved that entrance attire. He was dressed up like the Black Mask from Batman and DC Comics. That was great.
That was a great entrance, and the way he came out, like it was really good. It was a good pop.
I think the match was solid. It wasn't too long, but you don't look, it's Andrade's in-ring debut. You don't need to have him do like a 20-minute like clinic for his first AEW match. I think they kind of hit all the big spots, and Andrade went over. It was totally fine. Did what it needed to do. My only thing about Andrade, I don't think he needs Vicky Guerrero in his act. You know?
Yeah.
What do you?
I agree with you on that one. And there's nothing against Vicky Guerrero, but it's not needed. It's not necessary.
Because he has that assistant guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know his assistant's name? I don't know if they've named him yet.
I'm not sure. I thought it was the same guy who was with Benta and Ray Phoenix.
Okay. I don't know if he needs Vicky too though. But
Yeah.
whatever. He's with
Like,
Vicky for right now.
One is good, two is sometimes too much. So
okay, so then we had the date, as we talked about earlier, we had the debut of Malakai Black, who came out. I like that they kind of set up the blackout earlier, like making it seem like there were technical issues earlier in the night, and then they paid it off later with Malakai Black. So that was neat.
I agree.
Just don't job him out. Just don't job him out to Cody all the time.
Oh, I agree. Completely agree.
Okay, so then we had Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander beat Bunny and the Blade. What did you think of the Dan Lambert segment with because they had George Masvidal and Amanda Nunes from UFC were there, and then Dan Lambert basically cut a Jim Cornette promo and got beat up.
I wasn't too big on it. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go get something to drink now. This is my break time from what I'm seeing. No, it didn't really even like. I didn't want to even see it, and I saw it again on Instagram, and I was like, good thing I missed it.
I mean, nothing against Dan Lambert. I know he's a wrestling fan and he's done stuff in wrestling in the past. I just don't really get like what was the point of having him cut a promo and then Lance Archer beating him up. Was that the only way they could get Masvidal and Nunes on the show, you think?
I guess so. I really don't know, but I was just kind of like, oh, just end this now. Let's get into some more action.
Okay, so in the main event, we had a street fight. Penta El Zero Miedo, Eddie Kingston versus Young Bucks. The Young Bucks retained again. It was a good street fight. I kind of felt like Penta and Kingston should have won this one, the way it was playing out.
To be honest, I agree with you on that one. The wrestling was top notch. Penta, I believe he got Matt Jackson in this, and he did the what's it called Adam Cole calls it this Panama Sunrise, but what is the Canadian Destroyer? I think is what it's called, and landed him on the table,
okay,
edge of the ring to the table, and it was like they were going full out.
And then they had the thumbtacks and everything. I don't know. I felt like the way it was playing out, like after Kazarian came in to help, I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I feel like Kingston and Penta should have won. You don't even if they won, you don't have to keep the belts on them for a long time. It just felt like it would have just been a good moment to give it, to have a fun title change on this show, just because they beat them in like that tag match a week before. Right. And I don't know, it just felt like a title change kind of night. But
yeah, same here.
Just my opinion.
Yeah, but I was just kind of like disappointed to see and I like the Young Bucks, but I think
I do too.
I think it's time to change it up a little bit.
I agree, but that is not my decision. I am not Tony Khan. Any other major things on Dynamite you wanted to go over? So, I mean, we had the debut of Andrade, El Idolo. So I think it was a good start for Andrade and AEW.
I thought it was a good show.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good show. I think Malakai Black coming out, Andrade, seeing him, and coming out as dressed up as a Black Mask. You had a great tag team match. I mean, it was, for the first show back on the road, it was pretty good. I really
okay. So next week, on July 14th, they're going to be in the Cedar Park, Austin, Texas area. So we're going to have Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage for the FTW title. And then what else? Have they announced anything else for next week?
The coffin match, isn't that next week?
Is that one next week?
Yeah, isn't that Fighter Fest next week?
So basically they're going to do two weeks of Fighter Fest. So they'll be doing, let's see, Fighter Fest Night 1, which is the 14th, and Fighter Fest Night 2, which is the 21st.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to find out some more info on what we're gonna be seeing. Okay, here we go. So Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy is next week.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on that?
No, it's kind of an old school reunion match.
Okay. Yuka Sakazaki versus Penelope Ford. Oh, and here we go. Here's a big one. Jon Moxley versus Carl Anderson for the IWGP US title. That's the New Japan title he still currently holds. He's defending it on Dynamite next week against Carl Anderson, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fun match, but I don't know why I have this ugly feeling there's going to be interference and Carl Anderson's going to win the belt.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind if Carl Anderson won.
Oh, I wouldn't mind, but I'd like to see a clean win instead of having interference.
Well, Carl Anderson is a heel, and he's with the. What do we even call the stable? Are they the elite, or what do you think?
I don't know.
Are they the Bullet Club? The AEW Bullet Club, the elite. I guess we just call them the elite.
The elite, they still are because of what they are doing.
All right.
I think the Bullet Club thing, they kind of Kenny Omega kind of dropped for a little bit.
Okay.
But I have a feeling they're going to bring it back. But that's wait to be seen. But those are my opinions.
Okay, and so then the next week on Fighter Fest Night 2 on the 21st will be Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose for the women's title. So that's the other. Okay, so we got a good little lineup here for next week, and they're going to be on the road for both these shows. Next week will be in Cedar Park, Texas, and the week after that will be in Garland, Texas. The good news is for AEW is they sold out the Cedar Park show, so they're already they're going to be legit sold out next week.
Yeah, which is good.
Oh, so the other big thing on Dynamite, they had the Jericho MJF segment, which is when the fan tried to run out. So what was actually going on is Jericho and MJF were having a meeting, and Jericho is trying to get another match against MJF. So MJF declared that Jericho has to beat sort of like this gauntlet of opponents in order to get his matchup against MJF. So, I guess that's one way to milk this for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, and it gives it a different twist.
I'll tell you though, I think MJF is one of the best heels in wrestling today. He's, if not the best.
Oh, yes.
If not the best heel.
If you're getting a fan so worked up that they're jumping in, even though I don't condone it,
yeah,
you're doing something right. And you're selling yourself in a way that is getting people agitated, getting them angry. And that means he's doing a damn good job where the lines are getting blurred. Is it real or is it fake?
But I liked how MJF and Jericho played that whole thing off.
Oh yeah, same here.
Where what did MJF say? I dare any of you white trash chicks to come in here and try to touch me again. And then Jericho's like, I should have let that fat bastard put his hands on you or something.
Yeah. Exactly.
but that just shows you how good those guys are. That they could be put in sort of one of those spontaneous situations where all hell and chaos is breaking loose and they play it off. That's what good wrestlers can do. That where like what's the saying in wrestling, Mike? Making chicken salad out of chicken, you know what? So the best wrestlers can be handed just like one of these weird situations where they just have to play it off and just make it up as they go, just because of all this intense craziness. Okay. So SmackDown tonight. Now let's see. Since we're on at SmackDown.
Before we get into SmackDown, let's talk about last night's Impact Wrestling.
I don't know if you saw it.
Oh my God, the way they ended it was so good.
I actually did not watch Impact, but let's get it. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The show started and they had Sami Callihan getting arrested by police because they're saying that Don Callis got a
because he's going to wrestle Omega for the world title at
Slammiversary.
Slammiversary, right?
So Don Callis makes this whole video presentation like if he was assaulted, he has him arrested, and they find out at the end that it wasn't Sami Callihan when they're doing the contract signing because there was nobody else to do the contract signing with. And since Sami Callihan has been doing this hacker thing for some time with the phone, he suddenly appeared. He goes after Sammy goes after Kenny Omega and literally just destroys him and leaves him on the table, broken table, threw him right into it, signs the contract, threw it on him, gets the belt, put it on top of him and say, "See you on Slammiversary." It was so good that this match is going to be something to watch. And I'm a big fan. I like Sami Callihan.
He's underrated, I think.
Yeah, I've talked.
He's a good worker.
I talked to him during the same event that we were at for Impact when they were moving to AXS.
Oh, were you there too?
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was there. And
that was that was a while ago.
Yeah. Sami Callihan did not break character.
Yep.
He was doing the interviews the way his character, and I had a lot of respect for what he did and the way he talked to us and everything. So now when I see this match between him and Kenny Omega, it's going to be something to watch.
Sammy likes to, Sammy's good at the kayfabe thing, and he likes to blur the lines, going back to that whole, barbed wire bat incident with Eddie Edwards. Granted, that was I do feel bad for how Eddie Edwards was hurt there, but yeah.
Yeah, he is a good performer, really good performer.
So that will be the world title match at Slammiversary. So let's see what's going on. I don't think we know when Impact is going to start having fans back, but I don't think they're going to have fans for this one. But let's see. So they have Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan for the world title. Ultimate X will be Josh Alexander, Petey Williams, Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Rohit Raju. I like the Ultimate X,
Same here.
Going back, good classic, X division, going back to the TNA. During the TNA days, I was all about Ultimate X. Chris Sabin versus MUSE.
Mm-hmm.
Deonna Purrazzo versus, is it going to be Lady Frost?
I don't know. I know she came out and debuted last night on
Lady Frost, man. Whoa. Lady Frost. I did see the footage of her debut. Yeah. Her entrance is awesome. Her look is awesome, where she blows like that ice puff. Mm-hmm. I think if they play their cards right with her, she could be huge for Impact.
Oh, I think so too.
She just has that aura, and she has it factor, total it factor.
Yeah.
Just because when she came out and had her entrance, I was like, God damn. Imagine if fans were watching this wrestler come out. People's jaws would be on the floor.
I agree.
And it looks like she can work too. So, I mean, I feel like she's got a lot of great qualities that can make her a huge star.
I agree with you on that one. Definitely.
Okay. So Slammiversary is a good looking card. Now, if you like ROH, Ring of Honor Best in the World, this is going to be Ring of Honor's first pay-per-view event in front of the fans since the pandemic lockdown. Mm-hmm. So for this weekend, Ring of Honor will be on Honor Club, pay-per-view, and Fight TV. So we have the Briscoes versus Brian Johnson and PJ Black. The Foundation versus Violence Unlimited. Rush versus Bandito for the world title. Tony Deppen versus Dragon Lee for the TV title. EC3 versus Flip Gordon, as we mentioned earlier. Josh Woods versus Silas Young. Jay Lethal versus Brody King. And what else? For the 6-man tag titles, Shane Taylor Promotions versus Dak Draper. Dalton Castle and Eli Isom. And for the pure title, Jonathan Gresham versus Mike Bennett. So good for Mike Bennett too, kind of bouncing back after getting released from WWE and doing stuff in Ring of Honor now, you know.
And it's from what EC3 sounded like from your interview.
Yeah,
he's excited to be wrestling with fans again.
Yeah,
it sounds like
I'm happy for these guys that they're finally gonna have that back, because to be honest, I mean, watching wrestling without fans, it's tough. So,
yeah,
having that hot crowd on Dynamite this week made a whole big difference.
And especially for Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor, the fans really get into it.
Yeah,
and it really does help, and it makes the show it takes it to another level. And I think Ring of Honor is really going to pop this for this pay-per-view, and the fans are going to really bring it back again.
I'm just worried now, though, now that we're finally getting fans back, about the Delta variants and things like that. You know, I know this year, I mean, we do have vaccinations and everything, but I'm very concerned. I do not want us going back to square one.
I think it would be a lot different because of the fact that, like, you can't. It's gonna be hard to stop the way things were, and we all have to make money. We all have to survive. Another year, if something were to happen, would hurt a lot more people. And it's a matter of,
I don't even want to think about it, but it's out there, you know. It's like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something.
I don't know what we have to deal with it.
But like I say, it's something that you have to. It's like any other virus or anything that's out there. You got to be aware. If you believe in getting a vaccination, get your vaccination. If you don't believe in a vaccination, do the precautions in order. If you're feeling sick, stay home. Don't go out. Think about others. Think about other people who are sick, and don't go out. If you're feeling sick, you should do that already. Just even if we didn't have anything, when you get the flu, don't go to work. Because I remember when I was working for the federal government in college,
Yeah,
they would take their times off when they weren't sick, and when they were sick, 102 fever, working in their cubicle, and then wind up getting everybody sick because they rather go to work while they're sick.
Okay, so moving on from that, from SmackDown tonight, it'll be Nakamura and Baron Corbin for a Money in the Bank qualifying match, and Cesaro versus Seth Rollins in another Money in the Bank qualifying match. So that's unfolding literally as we speak. And starting next week, WWE will finally have live fans back in attendance at the arenas, thank God. And I'll be curious to see what it'll be like for live fans back starting a week from today for SmackDown.
Here, we need live fans. This Thunderdome thing is already, I'm tired of it already. We need people in the crowd. We need to get that excitement back.
Do you think it'll give the product a shot in the arm at all, or do you think they're gonna crap on everything?
It's gonna be hard to see. I mean, I really don't know. I cannot judge it because when it's gonna show how much what the fans are going to, what they liked or disliked during this whole time being away.
So this is another big deal. So Japan is in they're in another state of emergency right now because of COVID. It's so bad in Japan right now that they've had to ban spectators at the Olympics. So the Olympics in Tokyo are going forward, but they will be banned to the public. How this relates to pro wrestling is New Japan Pro Wrestling announced today that they are no longer selling tickets to Wrestle Grand Slam at the Tokyo Dome. So they were going to have a big event called Wrestle Grand Slam at the Tokyo Dome this summer. So apparently, I guess it's still going to go forward, but they're not going to have tickets anymore. So
it's an odd situation.
It's crazy.
It really is, but
I don't know how Japan had this under control or they at least appeared to have this under control last year.
But this is the one thing that it shows people is that things could still occur, things could still happen.
Yeah.
That's why if you want,
we have to be vigilant. You know,
exactly. If you still want to go to baseball games, you still want to see football this year. If you want to go to SummerSlam or see WrestleMania even next year, or even Survivor Series, we gotta be smart about this. And so after we can continue doing what we're doing and we don't get those issues.
Yeah. And that means getting vaccinated. Just
Yeah.
saying.
My
Okay.
tail wasn't that long when I got vaccinated.
Uh,
It
but man, I feel so bad for the New Japan fans and in New Japan. It's
Mhm.
just it's a rough situation over
It
there
is.
right now.
And they have some great talent over there. Some great talent, and I feel bad for them.
And not being in for the Olympics too. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Okay, so Cena, do you think Cena is going to wrestle Roman Reigns at SummerSlam?
I don't know. I don't think so because it seems too soon. Maybe Survivor Series, but I don't think.
Okay, so there was a report that Cena is going to be in this movie with Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Bryan Cranston, called Argyle.
Hmm.
So, and apparently it starts filming in August, and SummerSlam is in August as well.
Yeah.
So, I guess Dave Meltzer is saying in the Observer, let's see, because he had a report this week about SummerSlam. Let's see. According to Dave Meltzer in the Observer newsletter, Cena is a lock for SummerSlam and wrestling Roman Reigns. So do you think that's legit?
If it is, we'll see him come out after Money in the Bank.
Do you think Cena, we're going to see Cena next week in Houston, Texas? Buyers. Okay, here's the question. John Cena back in WWE in Houston, Texas on July 16th on SmackDown on Fox. Buy or sell?
I'd buy it.
Okay.
I'll buy it because they're gonna need something to
Me
to
too.
really make this SummerSlam pop and really be big, especially with the amount of money people are paying for tickets. They need to do something big, and I think a John Cena would help in that. So,
Now, John Cena versus Roman Reigns, SummerSlam, buy or sell?
I'll buy it.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I do think I would say it won't surprise me if we see Cena next week on Fox.
Yeah.
And even though if he's filming a movie that starts filming next month, that doesn't mean he's going to be filming his scenes next month, or he can't take a break to do some WWE stuff in between filming as well.
Exactly.
You know,
It depends on their clause. If he has
depends on their clauses. It depends on,
other stuff.
and it depends on their schedule and his schedule. But
I agree.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we are going to see this matchup, but that's what all the talk is saying.
Exactly.
So
we have to wait and see.
All right. Any other big things you want you think we should go over this week that we might have missed?
No, I think we got everything that we needed to talk
Okay.
about. We hit all the good points, and I'm good because right now I have no air conditioning in my room, and it's really friggin' hot.
I turned my AC up because of this heat wave.
We're over here. If you're not in the LA area, Southern California area, it's really hot and humid right now. To the point where I was already like, shoot, it feels like Florida right now. But maybe not as bad in the humidity aspect, but it is hot here. It is really hot. So I think we should close the show for this week. I think we did a great job.
Yeah.
Jeffrey?
Okay, so go ahead and check out the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. And you can check out my new exclusive interview with EC3. And I will be continuing to release more written reports from that interview on 411mania.com/wrestling throughout the next couple days. And I'll have a full transcript available, I think, Saturday night. So if you'd rather not listen to the whole thing, you can read it as well. So we'll have both audio and written versions of this interview. So I was very excited to get this interview. I really enjoyed talking to EC3. And then also coming up this month, so right now you can check out my official review of Black Widow from Marvel, which is out in theaters today, a spoiler review. So you can go find that on 411mania.com. And then my next review, it looks like it's going to be Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, because I just got the screening invite support that. So thank you very much for having me on today,
Always,
Michael. Yep.
and that's why I say they got to check out your EC3 interview. It was I am telling everybody on this podcast, if you love wrestling and you love talking or listening to interviews with wrestlers, Jeffrey's interview with EC3 was great. It was a really good interview, and you have to listen to it because you did a great job on that interview.
Yeah, was very happy with it, and EC3 was a great interview subject. He was very candid and upfront, and he had a lot of great insights. He's a very intelligent guy, by the way, and I think he's got a great mind for the business.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And for me, you could always find me here on MUSE TV. We have some videos coming up, some great interviews coming up. One with Carly Jackson, who's a part of Shark Fest. Her show's coming out on Monday on National Geographic, and we have more things coming up and a big announcement coming up towards the end of the month. And then again in August, we're going to be live we're going to be doing some live stuff in Las Vegas for CinemaCon, and we're going to be doing some coverage at CinemaCon for this year, which is not wrestling related, but hey, SummerSlam's that weekend when we're there. So yeah. Other than that, hey, thank you so much everybody for listening, and also big thanks to the people over at Tascam. They supply our soundboard and some of the audio equipment that we use, and they have a great product with this Model 12. And they're celebrating the 50th anniversary. If you're looking for a soundboard and you're looking for something for either music or podcasting, whatever you need to do, definitely take a look at the Tascam Model 12. It's a great board. You'll enjoy it. And other than that, thank you so much. We'll see you next week for another episode of This Week in Pro Wrestling, because next week we talk Money in the Bank. So you want to be listening to this. And also Samiversary too next week. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week here on This Week in Pro Wrestling.